The title doesn't lie, this is indeed another Mario movie review, another take on the film. I don't really do movie reviews, but I've looked at 2 other video game movies before, and hey, I'm relatively new to the film, so fuck it. So coming into this movie, there were 2 parties. There was the party that already decided they didn't like the film for being an Illumination movie with a girl boss Peach and Star-Lord as Mario, and there was the party that already decided they loved the film because Mario was in it. I, on the other hand, was not really in either party, but part of the smaller third faction of people who actually wanted to watch the movie before making an opinion on it. And that might sound very passive-aggressive, but I guess I should be clear. I don't have a problem with people who want an intellectual, complex movie with a lot to sink their mind into, although I'd have to question why you'd watch an Illumination Mario movie if that's what you're after, and I don't have a problem with people who just wanted to see the thing they recognize on a big cinema screen. My only problem is people who don't actually care about seeing the movie for any reason other than to justify an opinion that they came to 3 months ago. I almost see it as insulting to the people who made the movie. It's either, it doesn't matter how much you tried, you could have put no effort in and I would have loved it exactly as much, or, I don't care what work you put in, I won't give it the time of day and it sucks. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, let's dip our toes into something else mildly controversial. Controversial is not the right word. 2 other things that Twitter won't shut up about and what my take is. The first is girl boss Peach, and I'm just gonna say, if you have a problem with Peach being a competent fighter, maybe don't play any Mario games, because there's plenty of times she has proven herself to be fairly competent at getting shit done. Anyone here a Super Princess Peach? Because that's a game. Or this obscure little thing called Super Mario RPG. She also kind of does shit in that. Look, the idea of Peach being a competent badass isn't really anything out of the ordinary. It dates back all the way to goddamn Mario 2 USA. Is it likely trying to push a girl power message? Almost certainly, but that on its own is not a bad thing. It's not like they sidetracked the movie and ignored actually characterizing her just for the sake of getting brownie points from the crowd who only want to see a woman do things as if women don't do things all the time in movies. Peach has her own character beyond that, and in fact those are the things that stuck out to me more than just, oh hey, she doesn't suck at life. I saw people parroting this one guy's opinion that Peach was actually just Daisy, and have you watched the film? At her most characterful, Daisy is an absolute gremlin tomboy who is completely unhinged and has borderline no chill. That is not at all what Peach is like in this film. Her main character traits are caring for her people, being a compassionate person who looks out for her friends, and constantly trying to cheer everyone up. These are absolutely traits of Princess Peach. At her core, this character is definitely Princess Peach, and anyone who came out of this film thinking she's more like Daisy probably wasn't paying enough attention. So no, I'm not intimidated by strong women. If anything, they turn me on. God, I'm never getting a girlfriend. Anyway, the other thing is Chris Pratt Mario, and honestly, I didn't come out of this film with any strong opinion on his performance. It didn't wow me or insult me, it was just kind of, yep, that's this version of Mario, I guess. Didn't hate it, didn't love it, it was just sort of fine. I don't think he ruins the movie, not even close. Though speaking of the voice cast, I guess we can start there for actually talking about what's in the film. I think for the most part, it was an exceptional cast. Everyone at worst did an okay job. Jack Black, as expected, plays an amazing Bowser. He manages to sound both hilariously funny, genuinely threatening, and downright evil at points. I was not expecting him to viciously declare how he's going to kill Mario's brother in front of him, but that line went hard. His vicious aggression towards Mario at the end too was amazing. Anya Taylor-Joy did a pretty good job as Peach, same with Charlie Day as Luigi and Keegan-Michael Key as Toad. Kevin Richardson plays an amusing version of Kamek, who, to me, just screamed of henchman from the Cuphead show. I also really like Charles Martinet playing both the father of Mario and Luigi, which I thought was a fantastic role for him, and also, wait, the guy who looks like Jumpman is named Giuseppe? Is that a motherfucking Dorkly reference? And of course, the real casting choice I was worried about was Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. And despite it all, I actually thought he did a pretty good job for his take on the character. This showboating, arrogant little shit with an ego problem came out pretty well, and I fucking adore that instead of trying to sound like the character when laughing, he just went with his normal Seth Rogen laugh. Like, he got in on the joke. That's great. I normally don't like Seth Rogen in films, but I think he did a pretty good job here. He even almost managed to make the pseudo-emotional scene with the eel's stomach somewhat emotional. Which, yeah, while I like Donkey Kong's voice, I wasn't sure on his characterization. As a character, his intro is pretty great, but later he talks about his father seeing him as a joke, which... Huh? I didn't get that impression at all. I got that Cranky, who should be his grandfather by the way, wasn't a fan of his showboating, but didn't feel like he treated his son as a joke. Hell, he was willing to bet the right to risk his people's lives in war on the skills of his son. I didn't at all see him as treating DK as a joke. So the scene while working on Mario's side, seeing as what led to this film at all was that his father's an asshole, didn't really do much for me as a Donkey Kong scene. They retconned Donkey Kong Jr. out of canon just for this moment. At least that's the only reason I can imagine, so they can have this almost Bond form that then doesn't go anywhere. Though it would be really funny if the next film has Donkey Kong be like, oh yeah, my grandfather's actually got dementia, he forgot that I'm his grandson, not his son, so that would be pretty funny. I hope that this Sonic and Knuckles style relationship they have stays in future films though, and is it just me, or was that emotional reconciliation scene just exactly what happened in Sonic 2 with Donkey Kong unable to save himself underwater and Mario going out of his way to save his life? Strangely similar. By the way, spoiler alert. Other characters, I don't think we're too bad as characters. Luigi's confidence arc feels very half-baked, seeing as he's barely in the movie, and he just kind of decides to have confidence at the end with no real build-up point, but I'm willing to accept maybe he'll have more of that focused on in a future film. And Mario's arc is really strange. Like, yeah, he gradually becomes more competent, that's fine, but most of that happened over a montage after holding out for a hero. And then at the very end, he randomly has a confidence crisis that didn't feel like it came from anywhere. And I kind of laughed at the commercial that came on in that scene, like, randomly in the building that he was thrown in, his commercial from the start of the film starts playing, and not even from the start, just the exact moment he needed to hear, and then it stutters and repeats words like a YouTube poop. Bowser though, I kinda loved him in this film. He's so fucking down bad for Peach, it's amazing. He's not super deep or anything, but he's a perfectly entertaining, funny, and threatening villain who kicks ass, and has a random musical number about how fucking thirsty he is. Jack Black is an amazing voice talent, so I have no complaints. Have you ever heard Tenacious D's rendition of Dio's Last in Line? What an amazing album overall, but that is an unexpectedly fantastic cover in it. Is Bowser's song amazing? No, the lyrics are basically just Peach's name over and over, but the concept of him taking time out of his day to just pointlessly sing about how fucking down bad he is cracks me up.
This one is from my one and only true love, Princess Peach.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
That said, the comedy overall wasn't anything amazing to me.
Freddy.
The biggest laugh I got was Donkey Kong having a goddamn WrestleMania style entrance set to the DK rap. But other than that, I wasn't too terribly into a lot of the comedy, or even a lot of the random pop songs. I love Holding Out for a Hero, but it didn't need to be here, or honestly most of these songs didn't need to be, because the rest of the OST are fucking banging remixes of Mario tracks that go really hard. And the visuals that accompany them are also pretty great. I think the animation is really good. Characters are expressive and full of personality, a rarity for Illumination, and the action all looks fantastic, with the effects of Bowser's fire being especially great. That said, not a fan of a lot of the fights themselves. For the most part, the fights in this film amount to just a one-sided stomp all the time. The big fights that I recall are Mario's fight with DK, which is just Donkey Kong absolutely throttling him until he gets the catsuit and then he annihilates DK, which I would have loved if that was a proper fight and didn't make Donkey Kong look like a chump against anyone who was faster than him. Wasn't a fan of how anticlimactic that felt. And the Bowser fight, which first he gets bodied by Peach with an ice flower, which I wasn't a fan of, and it's not because Peach kicked Bowser's ass, mind you. If it was Mario or Luigi who did it, I also wouldn't be a fan. It just makes Bowser seem like a big chump. And then later, he just kind of bodies Mario, which was cool, because it got him more brownie points as a villain. But then when he goes to body Peach, DK, and Toad, the rest of the fight is on screen after he just slams them once. And then once Mario and Luigi get the star, they just fucking body everyone, including Bowser. And honestly, Luigi being part of that beatdown is kind of weird when he's done nothing all film. It kind of feels like that should have been Peach who did it. But they don't scream so long gay Bowser when they're yonking him into the stratosphere, so it's a roughly 4 out of 10 movie. The only exception to me is the Rainbow Road fight, which I thought was great. Not only did I think it was a great idea to take Mario Kart, and instead of shoehorning it into being a race just for the sake of it, actually turned into a fight sequence where the usage of shells as weapons makes sense. But it actually felt like a proper back and forth with both sides getting the advantage at different points. And the Blue Shell Koopa being a fucking suicide bomber is amazing. I want him to show back up in later films having survived as this just aggressively fanatical member of Bowser's army who violently decrees how much he'd commit actual war crimes for his boss. It was honestly the only part of the film that I didn't really see coming, because I'll admit, the film is very predictable. From the start, I already knew a lot of the payoffs we were going to get. It was pretty obvious, which isn't necessarily a big problem narratively, because I just watch a lot of films, and this is meant to be a goddamn kids movie for fun, But what I do have a problem with, and this is my one major issue with the movie, is the pacing. The film feels like it's really rushing through to get to the next recognizable Mario game reference as soon as possible. It felt like they were afraid that people would lose interest in the movie if there wasn't some recognizable thing on screen, and it felt like there were very few moments where the film actually slowed down to let scenes breathe and have some time to them. This might just be me, because I haven't actually read or watched other reviews, as I wanted to avoid spoilers, but aside from the opening Bowser bit and Mario and Luigi in Brooklyn stuff, the pacing felt really odd. The moment Mario gets into the Mushroom Kingdom, Toad just appears and just straight up brings him to Peach, and why is Toad here? Why does he care so much about Mario? What was he doing? Why exactly is he immediately wanting to drag Mario to Peach's castle? It felt like he was just there for plot convenience, and it just it embodies how fast the film is from getting point A to point B without giving any moments for what is in each point to matter. Once Mario gets to Peach, they're almost immediately into testing Mario's abilities. We get a brief montage, and then we're off to the Jungle Kingdom. We get a montage where they're almost immediately. We basically immediately go into the DK fight. That ends pretty quickly. We're immediately at Mario Kart, and then that fight happens, and immediately we're at Peach going with Bowser to the marriage, and then the final fight happens and the movie ends. That's my big problem. The movie doesn't give itself much time to breathe, and honestly, the two times it felt like it did were the not so great Donkey Kong and Mario scene. Mind you, the only scene with them talking that didn't bang, because I love the dynamic in every other scene. And then one brief moment with Fire Peach that was perfectly fine. It definitely felt like it was only included for setup for future films. There's a line that makes it feel like it's setting up for a Galaxy film, and that's going to do with Peach's origin story that they clearly set up as a mystery for the future. Speaking of which, I did stay back for the end credit sequence for the Yoshi egg. That was neat, but nothing too unexpected. Would have much preferred Martinet showing up as Jumpman to thank us for watching his movie like Mario does with his game sometimes. And that was that. Is there anything else to say? Not really. There are a lot of references to Mario games that I'm sure fans will just eat up. A lot of character cameos, Easter eggs, and just general fun things that I'm sure fans will love. Though, they probably won't love that Luigi is barely in this movie. I kinda wish he was in it more. And I kinda wish most of his scenes weren't massively dominated by the unfunny Luma that watches too much low-tier God. That was the Mario movie. I liked it. What a take, am I right? All that talking just to lead to, I liked it. But I absolutely understand the low critical reviews. I'm not going to pretend like the critics are wrong for their opinion, because frankly, yeah, I totally understand why it's getting low reviews. It's a predictable, uninspired, emotionally light movie that didn't pace itself well and has far too many one-sided fight scenes without much substance. At the same time, it's very fun, it has a great soundtrack, extremely expressive animation, pretty fun characters who are entertaining to watch on screen, and is a fun love letter to longtime fans of the game. I don't think critics, the ones that are fair at least, are wrong, and I don't think fanboys, the ones that aren't condescending at least, are wrong either. Both sides have a point, and I'm sitting in the middle, just thinking the movie's a fun watch. I'd recommend it to anyone who's a fan of Mario, and I'd cautiously recommend it to anyone looking for a fun movie. Anyone who's looking for a deep and intellectual movie, well, you're probably not very intellectual yourself if you're choosing this movie as your cinema experience of the day, so you should probably watch it anyway, dum-dum.